Hello everybody, this is Morlazan from Stolen Mo Gaming. I just wanted to bring you this replay. As I've mentioned before, I am not a pro. I don't claim to be a professional. But one thing I did notice about this game is this right here, guys. This is very important. My bad. So this guy right here, Zomiak, I had just played a game with him before, and he wiped the floor with me, guys. Just absolutely destroyed me. He did something that I hadn't encountered with Orks before. And, well, I ran into him again. Let me pause this while I tell you guys this. I ran into him again, and what he was doing was, everybody knows the Storm Boys, when they loot, it upgrades their suicide bomber, and they can pretty much launch their suicide. One of the things they do is they launch their suicide boys, wiping out buildings you may have up in the high ground, or they might harass your shield generators. That's one thing the Storm Boys can do. Well, another thing he was doing was, I know the doctrines are bugged right now. He's playing Orcs and showing that he's got Eldar. One thing he had was he had the rocket doctrine for his killicans. And what the rocket doctrine does with his killicans is when he loots from the polyg guns, he can shoot his rockets ridiculously far. And in the first game, I hadn't encountered, I'm used to the average orc trucks and spamming death lutas, stuff like that, but I've never had a killican spam. So, again, I had just played this guy. In the first game, he beat me. I didn't know how to react to all these killicans he had, and he was just wiping my generators from far distance. He was wiping my turrets. Well, I ran into him again, like back to back, and I noticed he had the exact same doctrines, exact same elites, and I pretty much already figured he was probably going to do the exact same. Why fix what's not broke? Well, here's why, guys, that it's important that you switch up your tactics. I'm going to go ahead and start this. So, I'm over here. The first game, I went with my standard 2 tactical build, because I usually rush for flamers. I have the slow death doctrine. And I kept my doctrines too because I wanted to bait him. I figured if he has everything the same, I have everything the same, he would do the exact same thing. So, I'll just put me on follow cam right here. So what I do is I do things differently. Even though I have the slow death, rather than rush for those flamers, I did the assault marine opener. I went ahead and threw down a quick barracks, started my assault marines here, started my assault marines in my orbital relay. And I'm just going around capturing these points now. And he's capturing his points. He's building the standard wall tower up here. But I'm going to call this video One Trick Pony, and I don't mean for it to be insulting. At his expense, unfortunately, everyone else is going to learn from his mistake, and that is, don't be a one trick pony, because it's important that you really change up your tactics. If you do everything exactly the same, the person who has played you before, he's going to know how to counter it. So again, instead of going for my 2 tacticals, I went for my assault marines. And the reason why I did this is because, if I remember correctly, one of the other doctrines he has was the scrap doctrine, where his boys heal and stuff like that if he uses it. So what he does is he pretty much tied my tacticals up with these boys. And I did pretty good with my flamers. But again, it was just to keep me occupied. He went back, he kept me tied up until his unit was very low. He went looted scrap, and without spending any resources, his boys were healed back up to, tie me up again and stuff like that. But this time I went with assault marines, pretty much knowing that he was going to go with his boys build again, and assault marines beat boys. So tie him up right here. I drop in my drop pod, get him to run away. I've got my servitor over here scouting this out just to make sure, he doesn't come in here and harass. Because in the first game, that was one thing he was really good at, was that if I was tied up here, he'd take like 1 or 2 units and go to my other shield generator, which, you know, everyone should do that. If you're able to hold your opponent without using your full force, then go ahead and take like 1 or 2 other units that you don't need and go harass something. So I have a servitor down here in stealth to just watch this point for me.
Preparing assault marines for deployment.
Go ahead and get this spot right here. I do have tip of the spear, so I grab this, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to put a listening post down here really soon to kind of help my assault marines. I don't plan on actually going tacticals this game. But I do get my listening post up. Yep, there it is. So that I can make use of this tip of the spear. Here comes the Storm Boys, which I predicted he would have Storm Boys by now because I have my kill team. Another thing is, I see this rarely, but it still happens, guys. Don't summon your kill team right away. Definitely keep them in reserve. Because their Flamer and Rocket upgrade is instant. So you don't have to worry about a upgrade time. So you can keep them in reserve, drop them in for that CC, and it quickly upgrade them to Flamers and get those flames on them. As you saw, I had my Assault Marines up top. That way I could scout this. I jump in with these, do some CC. I don't jump in with these yet, but now I do. Once I saw that stun, I jumped in and re-CC. And then my drop pod comes in to CC these down here, right there. And I should get these flamers here pretty quick. Yeah, there it goes. I was a little late on the flamers, but as you can see, I used the drop pod for my CC, and then I was able to get some good flamers off on him because, you know, he funneled down these steps. And because he did that, my flamers were able to hit all those squads. Even though I only took out 1 unit, now it forced his hand to pull back and have to heal. I guess he doesn't have the scrap upgrade unless it doesn't work with the elites. The only doctrines that I really remember, though, is the Killican doctrine. It's so annoying, guys. Again, it was my first time running into that, so I really didn't know how to react to it. But I definitely do things differently. So I got my power swords upgrade. I still rocking my 2 assault squads. I don't normally like going Assault Marines because it's so meta, I almost see it as bandwagon, but sometimes you have to. So, I use my Assault Marines to jump from down here to up here, as you just saw. I'm harassing this because I know he's in middle, because that's where he goes to repair, upgrades like that. I know he's in middle. So I quickly take out that tower. I quickly take out his resources for those power swords. I see that he's down here again, so I go ahead and jump out. I have another Assault Marine right here. And see, that's what I was talking about. Just real quick. So while I had my Assault Marines jump up here to harass, I had already had another Assault Marine being made to come down here and, you know, help my Death Watch. Which, I planned that good, but unfortunately, I kind of forgot them and didn't utilize them. So, you know, good strategy, bad micro. I think when I pulled them back is when I just noticed them. Yeah, there it goes. I was like, oh man, I forgot that I had them being made. Another thing is, don't float your requisition. Don't do that. So as soon as I saw that I had enough to make another Assault Marine, I put them in the Orbital Relay. Assault Marines and Orbital Relay is really strong, guys, because, you know, I already have them with the Power Sword upgrades. I can't remember if I have... Yeah. I already have the infantry damage too. And see that? I just did it again. I jumped up here before it was built. I take his listening post down again. Take his resources down because again, I know he's up here. Guys, take advantage of that. When you know your opponent's position, take advantage of that. I jump him in a stealth. The trucks can't hit me while I'm in stealth. He knew I jumped in there, but he couldn't hit me while I was in there. I was trying to jump him behind the truck, but, you know, luckily he pulled back. But it's not going to matter right here. I took out the truck. I'm going to take out this unit. And the thing is, I see this happen sometimes. People, you know, even if they're winning the fight, they'll deploy their drop pod. You always want to have, if you don't need them, always have your drop pod in reserve, guys. Don't waste the potential of that CC. Normally for my elites, I do run Gabriel because I really like the drop pod heal. But I'm trying to level up my librarian right now. So I was using him, but I don't use him very effectively, guys. I'm not very good with my librarian, so you won't see him much in this fight. Let's see what he's doing here. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. He's kind of a one-trick pony. He's trying to utilize these trucks, and you know he's not doing bad as far as using the trucks. What's bad is that his plans haven't worked. Either he's not microing his trucks well enough yet, or what. As you see, I did put my kill team back in a drop pod, and I had dropped it down here. I upgraded him with the rockets this time. So, you know, Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. What he's doing right now, you know, in the first game he rushed straight for killicans, but that's because he was holding my tacticals off pretty well. But now that I'm going Assault Marines, he had to quickly switch up his tactic, which he decided to go for trucks. Unfortunately, everybody knows that Space Marines' answer to trucks early game is power swords, which I have. And I even have my kill team with rocket launchers now. I went ahead and dropped the flamers because I have enough Assault Marines here that I can pretty much take care of whatever infantry he throws at me. So I went ahead and got those rocket launchers specifically for those trucks. And if I need to switch it up later to a flamer for whatever reason, again, it's so easy to just get these guys back into their own personal drop pod and drop them in later. That's what I love about these guys. So I decide that, okay, you know, I've harassed the top good enough. I'm expecting that he has something up here to stop me from jumping in like that. So, guys, don't keep hitting the same spot over and over again, because, again, someone will eventually adapt to it and have things in place there to stop that. So I decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to harass the bottom here. Now, he didn't have anything up there, and he is, you know, close enough to stop this a lot easier than he could have if he had stopped that. But I wanted to play safe. I wanted to make sure, you know, he didn't have anything waiting for me there like a trap and losing all my squads. So he's pretty much got me in a stun lock. So I go ahead and I throw down my standard, not to utilize for combat, but to just CC them so I can get out of here. I think wasting, we're not wasting because I did CC. I think using a standard like this is better than losing, you know, 2 or 3 squads of Assault Marines. I didn't want to take the chance of him capturing my standard in fight and then me losing all 3 of my Marines because I don't have a shield and they're low on health. So let's kind of see what he's up to right now. Alright, here he goes, guys. Here it goes. He's building his first killican. I've tied him up enough that I knew that he wouldn't be able to dish it up quite yet because he's so focused on getting these trucks. He's so focused on getting people to put it in the trucks. I knew he wouldn't have the resources for those killicans until just about now. So there's his first killican. But as time goes on, you'll see that he really tries to spam the killican. I put a servitor up here for, you know, observation reasons. He does stun this, but his mistake was throwing those guys in there. I'm about to take this tower down. I'm about to wipe out the squad. You know, those aren't knobs. Those are just regular sluggas. He does pull them out. I decide I'm not going to follow him because, again, I don't want to run him into any trap he might have set up there. So I'm like, you know, I'm in a good position. I'm going to go ahead and harass his resources again. Because, you know, I starve him of that power. I starve him of that requisition. Keeps him from being able to spam his killicans fast.
Go ahead.
I am at tier 2. I'm getting a Deathstorm drop pod going.
Deathstorm drop pod readying.
Gotta give those Deathstorm drop pods love.
Point captured.
One thing I would have done different is I would have put them back in the drop pod. I'm kind of neglecting the usefulness of keeping them in a drop pod. Alright, there it goes, guys. You saw that? You saw that rocket right there? So he's got this kilocan that just shot my generator from here. His kilocan was set up right here, and he shot my generator. It did very little damage, but the fact that he can do that halfway across the map, that's ridiculous, guys. And that's what he did in the first game. He just spammed it. So he made this copter, which isn't bad because, you know, he's trying to get that harassment. But luckily for me, I have my servitor up here. I saw that copter. I bring my rocket launcher in. Bam. One rocket launcher hit, and he's forced to get out of there. You know, he's not going to kill the servitor before they kill the copter. So that's another reason why it's important that you have your servitors up on the high ground. Always use servitors, guys, for positions like this. You know, it's not too bad to have, like, maybe assault marines here and stuff like that. But when you're unsure of how the fight's going to go, have servitors do your scouting. That way you don't lose important figures. So I finally got a machine cult up here. Went ahead and moved my assault marines to this position. Not only so they don't know or try to bombard me with, like, their big trucks here. Because right now he's thinking that's where I am. But also because this will actually heal my units. I first that def copta back more. Alright, so I've pretty much got a pretty good map control. Again, I know he's up here. I know he's, you know, camping out up here. So I went ahead and got a whirlwind out. I'm going to use this whirlwind to kind of just harass this area. I have to be careful, though, with my whirlwind, because in the last game, I also learned that a combination of them doing their suicide bomber upgraded with loot, and them doing their little rocket, which, yeah, look at that, guys. Look at that range. Holy cow. But I've noticed that with a combination of Death Cans and Storm Boys, they will wipe out my machine cults up here. Went over here to harass this again. Here he comes. He's going to move down. I'm going to go ahead and take out this wall tower real quick. Saw that he didn't have much. He was expecting me to come back here, I guess, so he tried to stun that. I'm going to take this Def Can out. Try to. Unfortunately, he got away. But luckily, I dropped my Death Storms. I think my mistake on the Death Storm, though, guys, was using both of them. I knew from the start when I dropped one, I was just going to drop it to keep them off my Salt Marines while I come down here and finish this off. But I got a little ahead of myself and dropped both. And now, you know, they have very minimal vision up there. They're not doing much. So I'm going to end up losing both of these. Whenever you're planning on using Death Storm drop pods, it's actually better to use maybe one just for that harassment, to that cover fire to get out of there. The only time I would use like 2 or 3 is if they were in your base actually, you know, messing stuff up, and then you can use all 3 of them to, you know, try to wipe out his army real quick. And there I go with my whirlwind harassing this tower here. I take this with my servitor. Now I have all 3 points controlled by me. I get my second whirlwind. You know, one whirlwind is it's okay, but you don't really start seeing the full effectiveness of the whirlwind until you get 2 or 3 of them. And to respond to my whirlwind, you know, he gets tank bustas. You know, not too bad.
Preparing assault marines for deployment. Point me with purpose, my lord. Infantry health up. Our elite battle brothers are ready to deploy at your word.
There I go again, harassing this. I hit back here this time, though. Unfortunately for me, he does have that little shield.
Upgrade in progress. We are ready to
Which I figured he had the shield up, but, you know, just doing some harassment, popping them here and there, seeing if I couldn't get 1 or 2 deaths. Another thing I do is, again, because I remember that Stormboy and Defcan and their long-range bombs, I move my whirlwinds. You're going to see me do this. This is also really important, guys. Do not keep your whirlwinds in the same place. If you keep your whirlwinds in the same place, then you're going to leave them vulnerable to their own artillery. So I had them here. I'm going to move them down here, and I'm pretty confident having them here because I've got some pretty good vision. And I'm going to shoot them from here. And there they go. So I'm going to shoot them up over here. And as soon as they're done shooting, watch. I'm going to move them again. There I go. I move them again. Because I'm not going to have his Defcan do that crazy long distance bomb and wiping out my whirlwinds. So every time you use a whirlwind, make sure you move them. Which he goes for the machine cult. Didn't do much damage. So I'm kind of happy I didn't put my whirlwinds here. But I knew that I knew we're on the ramp they would still have range there. And there goes that Stormboy. See? He's aiming straight for my shield generator. That's all he does, man. He just does killicans, killicans and Stormboys with their bombs. I move my whirlwind again. They still have sight up here. I think I aimed for up here. Yeah, there I go. I missed all that, but I did catch this retreating unit.
Vehicle durability upgrade secured. Whirlwind artillery battery en route.
I have my heroes, guys, as you can see. But,
New drop pod bay is online.
don't...
Death Storm
Another thing not to do is don't summon your heroes just because you have them. Especially if you have kill team. If you have kill team, guys, your heroes come in drop pods. And remember I said about those drop pods, you know, use their effectiveness on the CCs. So I keep my heroes in reserve even though I can summon them. That way for when I really need them, I can summon on drop pods, not only to CC a cluster of units, but to also get my hero in there quick and then surprise them. Go ahead and hit that spot. So yeah, he's massing these tank busters. You know, I've beaten him to the punch on artillery. I've got 4 whirlwinds. He's still only got 1 killican, I believe. Yeah, still only got 1 killican. So he's just massing these tank busters now, trying to take care of my whirlwinds. But throughout this whole game, guys, he hasn't wiped out 1 unit of mine. So he should know I still have all these assault marines, and he hasn't made anything to counter the assault marines. That's kind of bad on his part. So he's getting counters to my whirlwinds, but he's got nothing to take care of these assault marines yet. That's another thing. You got to remember the early game, guys. You got to think to yourself, what did I take out in the early game? Did I take out any units? Did he make a unit that he's not using right now? Am I forgetting about a unit that he has? And there I go with those whirlwinds. Just wiped out all those tank busters. Gone.
Whirlwind reporting ready. Preparing
Now you're probably thinking I could be really aggressive right now and just start wiping out his shields. But this is a different game than the first time I played this guy. This guy right here. Guys, I'm telling you, like in the first game, when I thought I had the advantage and I went in with my army, he had so many killicans and did his little rocket barrage that he just wiped everything out. And then he set all his killicans up right here and just was long-ranging all my resource points. I'm going to shoot up here again. Yep, there I go. But just long-ranged all my resource points, you know, starved me from resources. Started hitting my power generators, which then every time he knocked down a power generator or a shield generator, he also get resources. So he was able to stay ahead of me in the first game. But again, you guys try different things. You know, if you watch my if you watch my videos on YouTube, you'll notice I don't have the exact same doctrines every time. I like to mix it up. I like to mix it up because the more you experience with different strategies, the better you're going to be. You know, you might lose to that new strategy you haven't encountered before, and that's okay. Everyone does. But the bottom line is when you play that same person again, if he hasn't increased his repertoire of strategies, you're probably going to beat him. But I saw the fist. I jump out of the fist. This fist is going to come down right here, but I get out of there safely. That's another really important thing with Assault Marines, guys. People are so quick to use their jump to get out of places, but because of that, he can bait you, which is what he tried to do. He tried to throw his fist because he probably predicted that right here, my max range of my jump was going to be right here. He was going to wipe out that entire unit. So I waited to walk some and then jump. That way I had a further jumping distance, and he couldn't bait me. So definitely save your jumps for times like that. Don't just waste a jump. And what's great about this encounter is that now I know he has his Gorkanaut, and I didn't lose any units. You know, had I lost all those units, I would have been in a bad position. But I kind of played that smart. Here's another thing, guys. Everyone thinks that you need these rank 9 and 10 units to win a game. I'm about to show you something that I think is also really important. So I see his Gorkanaut coming down because I have vision. I have vision on right here. I see this Gorkanaut come down. Watch this. I drop in my Assault Terminators. I drop in my Librarian. Watch this encounter, guys. My Assault Terminators stun. You see that stun? What that stun did? And then these Thunder Hammers do some pretty good damage. I see them coming down right here, so I go ahead and drop my Deathstorm pods. Now, I want to kill this guy. I want to kill him. So I drop both Deathstorms to keep these guys busy. I don't want anyone interfering this fight. So as you watch this fight, he throws his fist. He throws his fist, and watch this. I use my teleport to get out of that fist. You know, I timed that just right. I come back in, my stun's back up, so I'm going to use Hammer Slam right there. And watch that. Dead. Or just about dead. He's going to die right here. There he goes. He's dead. His Storm Boys are dead. So that's how you use those Death Storms, guys. People freak out over Death Storms because, you know, to light armor, they do some damage. So I dropped my Death Storm drop pods, and I dropped them. I didn't want to drop them both up front because I didn't want any AoE damage and both of them going down at the same time. I dropped them separate from each other, you know, 1, 2. That way they had like, you know, kind of like how the shield generator, you had to get past the shield generator before you can get the turret before you can get to the power core. I kind of set up another MOBA right here. You know, in order to get to this Death Storm, he had to get past this Death Storm. In order to get to my units here, he had to get past this Death Storm. And I took out that Gorkanaut. Go ahead and use my Whirlwinds again to just hit this generator. I take out that generator. And as you see, remember earlier my Whirlwinds were here. And now I have them in this corner. And I'm going to move them again. Now I move them up here. I was hoping to keep him up here, but unfortunately this tower right here sees this one. So now he knows he's up there, and I'm like, crap, I can't keep him here. So I go ahead and I pull him back. I'm like, okay. Well, he's still not going to know exactly where they are because I'm moving them again. And there's his death cans, guys. There, watch this. See? Had I kept my Whirlwinds there, they would have all just died. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, he's going for his death can spam now. It's really late in the game because of all the harassing I've been doing, but that's what he knows. He hasn't experimented with anything else, so this is the only thing he really knows to do. He pulls back there. Another thing I could have done is, you know, I could have made another servitor, just a useless unit, and send it up there to scout and see where they are hiding out and see if I can't pick them off with my Whirlwinds. Made a Dreadnought and a bombardment. I still have my kill team here for this site. So I saw that they were here. Which they moved up. They're going to get my Whirlwinds now. Yeah. I go ahead and I just start dropping everything on him. I do a stun. There it goes. I stun him with my dreadnought. I get this orbital bombardment. And I just wipe everything out right here. You know, he got away with one kill-a-can. I pretty much have this game in the bag now. At this point, I am kind of messing with him. You know, at this point, I know I could take him out. The reason why I don't, though, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty salty that, you know, he spammed this in the other game. So I'm kind of messing with him now. But in a way, you know, I'm kind of teaching him. You know, he's got to change up his tactics or he's gonna lose. I send my dreadnought in there. I'm aware of this, guys. That's not a mistake. I'm sending my dreadnought in there. I'm being overconfident right now. You know, that is actually a bad thing because in this game, guys, you can make a comeback pretty quick. So, you know, I wasted a dreadnought, but I'm being overconfident. I'm just, you know, messing around now. I did a little drop here, get that wall tower down. I lose a whirlwind. Not that worried about it though. My resources are pretty good. I could recover that pretty good. He starts sending in all these people after my whirlwind. Again, this is what I was talking about, guys. He's so focused on these whirlwinds that he's forgetting that he has yet to take out any of my assault marines. So he is just chasing these guys. So focused on my whirlwinds, and here I go. Which, don't do that, guys. Don't micromanage like that. Don't jump them in all at the same time. But I was pretty confident about it because I know that's all he has. But had he had like a super ability or a big truck, he probably could have wiped out my entire unit when I jumped in on one unit. So I don't recommend that. He's got his Storm Boys back. Let's see if he... Gorgonaut's on a long timer. Brings his Storm Boys up. He's thinking I'm still here. You know, and that's why I keep moving my units, guys. It's so important. So this is how you do jumps right here. Watch this, guys. So I got him tied up. I jump once. He stuns me, but that's okay. I knock him back. And then I jump again. I knock him back again. This is how you use Assault Marines. And I go to jump again, but, you know, his one unit jumps out. But as you can see, you know, when you have a mass Assault Marines like that, that's how you utilize the jumps right there. I went ahead and put my kill team back in their drop pod. I figured, you know, I wasn't really having them... I wasn't having him on this position again. So I put him in his drop pod. I knew I could put my Assault Terminators there and stuff like that.
We've escalated to the final phase of war.
I'm going to start harassing with my 3 whirlwinds now. I think I go for this. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I take that out. I'm pretty sure by now also... Yeah, I have everything upgraded, guys. Like, don't think I'm just floating requisitions. Like, during all my rambling and talking, stuff like that, I was building units, I was doing my upgrades. He's got this Death Dread. So he comes over with his Death Dread, again, expecting my Assault Marines. But watch this. He walks into here, and surprise. And he's going to lose this. I did my Assault Terminator stun, and this is the end for this Death Dread. Now, tank bustas are good against Assault Marines. You gotta be careful with that. These guys can be good against Assault Marines, you know, see like that right there. I go ahead and shoot off my whirlwinds. I catch it up in this area. I knew that once he heard my whirlwinds, he would try to retreat, so I did try to hit it further back. That's an effective way of using whirlwinds, guys. Don't try to hit where they are. Try to hit where they're going. And there it is, guys. He just could not come back from this game. He surrenders right there. But the point of this video, though, was, guys, don't be a one-trick pony. You know, for those of you who play StarCraft 2, you know what I'm talking about. You have the Zerg player who's in copper, and he keeps doing his 6-pool Zerg rush, and it gets him all the way to, like, maybe platinum. Or, no, maybe gold. But once he gets in gold, then he just never wins again. Because the only trick he knows is the one trick. which is cheesy. It's better to cheat. You will lose to cheese, guys. I'm not saying you won't lose to cheese. It's going to happen, especially in a game like this. It happens. But it's better to not rely on cheese. Because just like this guy, when he was originally thinking he was just going to pump out killer cans again and just long range my shit, I 180'd him. I switched up my tactics from the first game, and he just couldn't beat me on this one. So play the game legit, guys. Don't rely on cheese. If cheese is like a last resort. If you're losing and you decide to just build a crap load of assault marines and just quickly jump into his base and take his stuff out, that's one thing. But when you're starting the game planning on doing something cheesy, don't. Play the game legitly. It's more fun for you. It's more fun for your opponent. And you become a better player. Because, again, once you start playing against someone who actually knows what they're doing, your cheese isn't going to win you the game. But experience through strategizing and switching your gameplay up, that's what's going to win you the game. Anyway, guys, I'm glad you watched my replay. I hope you enjoyed it. More Lozan out.